Well, meantime, Russia plans to help civilians get out of the Syrian city of Aleppo. Moscow and the Syrian government have announced a series of humanitarian corridors for residents to leave. The eastern rebel-held part of Aleppo is believed to be surrounded by government forces who've cut off supply routes. The UN warns hundreds of thousands of people could run out of food within the next few weeks. Well, for more, let's bring in Fawaz Gerges of the London School of Economics and author of ISIS, A History. He joins us via Skype from London. Great to have you with us. Russia will work with the Syrian government to open up 4 corridors to allow people to flee, both civilians and rebels. How do you envisage this working?
Well, I think the underlying point behind the Russian proposal is that come and surrender. We're talking about the Russian humanitarian initiative. What we need to understand is that the Syrian government and its allies have gained the upper hand. Aleppo now is besieged by the Syrian army and its allies. And what the Russians are saying to the civilians in Aleppo and also to the rebels, you're welcome to come out of Aleppo, but on our own terms. And you rebels, if you really would like to get out, put down your weapons and basically join the Syrian government. The big story behind the Russian proposal is really the Syrian army gaining the upper hand, and Russia now has a major sway in this particular conflict, because remember, you have an American-Russian rivalry in Syria, and the Russians now are really playing the major power broker in Syria.
And also, the Syrian president has promised amnesty to those who do lay down their arms and turn themselves in within the next 3 months. Are the rebels likely to do that? Will they believe the Syrian government?
I doubt it very much. This is not the first time that the Syrian government basically offers a proposal like this. For the last 3 or 4 years, the Syrian president has made it very clear that the rebels are welcome to lay down their arms and they'll have amnesty. This is all-out war. But the reality is the Assad making this proposal at this particular moment, after gaining the upper hand in Aleppo. Aleppo is the second largest city after Damascus, and making some major gains in the suburbs of Damascus. What we need to understand is that the Syrian government is gaining the upper hand. The balance of power is shifting towards Assad. Both the Russians and the Syrian government feel very confident about the military balance of power. And Assad, basically, it's a win-win for Assad. He's telling the international community, look, I'm willing to talk to the rebels. In fact, I'm willing to offer an amnesty to the rebels if they lay down their weapons. What he's really trying to say, I'm going for the win. I'm going for the kill. And I doubt it very much whether his most recent initiative about an amnesty for the rebels will find many takers among the rebels, because this is all-out war between the Assad government and the opposition.
We know in Aleppo right now that there are only a few remaining working hospitals. Others have been destroyed. We know aid is low, food is low. How do you see things playing out there over the coming days and weeks?
Imagine the temperature is over 30 degrees. You're talking about almost 95 degrees. 300,000 people now are besieged in Aleppo. You have almost 1 million people now in Syria who are besieged. So you asked me about the Russian initiatives. This is a very important initiative, because the Russians are saying, look, to the Americans and the United Nations, come and basically be part of this particular initiative. So Russia is telling the United Nations, the Americans, we are willing to accommodate the Syrian civilians if they come out of Aleppo, but on one condition, on basically the terms of the Syrian government. So the reality is, you're talking about dismal humanitarian conditions. You're talking about 300,000 people now who are trying to survive. And Aleppo is besieged, make no doubts about it. How long it's going to take? The longer it takes, the more dismal the humanitarian condition will become in Aleppo. And that's why the Russian initiative gives Russia really a big hand in what's going to happen in the third talks, if they take place in Geneva in the next few weeks, as the Americans and Russians work on at least a way out to begin a third round in talks in Geneva.
We can only hope that those talks this time round will be successful. Fawaz Gerges, great to have you with us as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you.